Blood moons, lunar eclipse myths from around the world. Marauding demons, murderous pets, and ravenous jaguars are just some of the culprits that cultures around the world have blamed for the moon's disappearance during lunar eclipses. The Inca feared that a lunar eclipse was caused by a jaguar attacking the moon. They tried to drive it away by making noise, including beating their dogs to make them howl and bark. During the night of April 14 to 15, the first lunar eclipse in more than 2 years was visible across North and South America from Hawaii. And while such celestial events celebrated with viewing parties, road trips, astronomy talks, eclipses have not always been events that people looked forward to. Many ancient cultures saw solar or lunar eclipses as a challenge to the normal order of things. As E.C. Krupp says, he's the director of Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, California. He says things that should not be happening are happening. The Inca did not see eclipses as being anything at all good, says David Dearborn, researcher at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California, who has written extensively on how the Inca viewed astronomy. Accounts written by Spanish settlers in the New World record the Incan practices surrounding eclipses, and he says among the collected myths is a story about a jaguar that attacked and ate the moon. The big cat's assault explained the rusty or blood red color of the moon, often turned during a total lunar eclipse. The Inca feared that after it attacked the moon, the jaguar would crash to Earth to eat people, Dearborn says, and to prevent that, they would try to drive the predator away by shaking spears at the moon and making a lot of noise, including beating their dogs to make them howl and bark, according to the Inca Empire in National Geographic magazine. The ancient Mesopotamians also saw lunar eclipses as an assault on the moon, says Krupp, but in their story, the assailants were 7 demons. Traditional cultures linked with what happened in the sky to circumstances on Earth, he says, and because the king represented the land in Mesopotamian culture, the people viewed a lunar eclipse as an assault on their own king. We know from written records, he says, that Mesopotamians had a reasonable ability to predict lunar eclipses, and Krupp says so in anticipation of an eclipse they would install a surrogate king intended to bear the brunt of any attack. Typically, a person declared to be king would be someone expendable, Krupp says. So through the whole period, the substitute was not really in charge. He would be treated well during the eclipse period, and the actual king would be masqueraded as an ordinary citizen. Once the eclipse passed, as you might expect, the substitute kings typically disappeared, Krupp says, and may have been dispatched by poisoning. Now, according to our next blood moon, the next total lunar eclipse is, according to time and date, eclipse blood moon in 736 days, 17 hours, 46 minutes. A total lunar eclipse is sometimes called a blood moon because of the reddish tinge the full moon takes on when fully eclipsed. The term is also frequently used to describe 4 total lunar eclipses that occur in a row. And why are blood moons red? Blood moon is not a scientific term, though in recent times it's been widely used to refer to the total lunar eclipses. The eclipse because of a fully eclipsed moon, it often takes on a reddish color, like in the image that we have here. So why does the moon turn red? The total lunar eclipse happens when the moon travels through the Earth's umbra and blocks all direct sunlight from illuminating the moon's surface. However, some sunlight still reaches the lunar surface indirectly via the Earth's atmosphere, bathing the moon in a reddish yellow or an orange glow. As the sun's rays pass through the atmosphere, some colors in the light spectrum, those towards the violet spectrum, are filtered out by the phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. And this is the same mechanism that causes colorful sunrises and sunsets. Red wavelengths are least affected by this effect, so the light reaches the moon's surface as a reddish hue, causing the fully eclipsed moon to take on a red color. And depending on the composition of the atmosphere, different parts of the light spectrum are filtered out, so the moon may also look yellow, orange, or brown during a total lunar eclipse. A lunar tetrad, the term blood moon, also sometimes used to refer to 4 total lunar eclipses that happen in the span of 2 years. A phenomenon astronomers call a lunar tetrad. The eclipses in a tetrad occur about 6 months apart, with 5 uneclipsed full moons between them. Usually only about 1 in 3 lunar eclipses are total, and about 4 to 5 total eclipses can be seen from any single location on Earth in a decade. This means that lunar tetrads are rare occurrences, leading some to attach special, even religious, significance to these events. The 2014-15 lunar tetrad gathered a lot of attention because of claims by some religious organizations that the eclipses in the tetrad were a sign of the end times. Some even call the eclipses blood moons after a statement in the book of Joel of the Old Testament that refers to the sun turning dark and the moon turning red before the second coming of Christ. How often do lunar tetrads happen? It depends on the century you look at. Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli calculated that the occurrence of lunar tetrads varies over centuries. Some have several lunar tetrads while others do not have any. For example, in the years 1582 and 1908 did not have any tetrads, whereas in the next 250 years from 1909 to 2156 we will have 17 tetrads. In the current century, 2001 to 2100, we will have 8 tetrads. The first tetrad of the 21st century took place 2003 to 2004. The second was 2014 to 15, and the next will be 2032 to 33. And the following eclipses: April 25th to 26th, 2023, October 18 to 19, 2023, April 14 to 15, 2033, and October 8, 2033. I'll leave links below for you for this. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.